Hey everybody, welcome to my meditation bootcamp. Welcome to the 13th and final lesson of our meditation bootcamp. So that's it. We've officially reached the end of our meditation bootcamp, but I just wanted to wrap up by saying a few things about meditation being a journey. I threw a lot of material at you over the course of these 13 videos, but not a whole lot in the way of actual meditation. But by teaching you the fundamentals and explaining why each of the steps is important, hopefully that will lead you to a lot more success with meditation, and so it will become a lifelong, fulfilling practice, rather than just something that you tried that you thought would be cool, but ultimately get frustrated and give up. So this guy over here, that could be you in a few years. So hopefully each time you meditate, you'll get a little bit more separation between you and your mind, so that you start to view the mind as though you were listening to somebody else talking and not actually you. And you'll hopefully start to notice that that separation carries over into everyday life too, and not just while you meditate. So one thing you might encounter on your meditation journey is that the mind is very smart and it will realize what you're trying to do. Basically, if you carry on meditating the way you are, then the mind will no longer exist. And that's a problem for the mind. It's called an ego death. So naturally, that's a problem that the mind needs to solve. You may notice that your mind changes the language that it uses, and it will often fight back in several ways. First of all, it'll just say that you're terrible at meditating, that you're no good, that it's just not working for you, and just try to get you to give up. But if that doesn't work, then your mind will start to get a little bit sneaky, and it'll start to say the opposite. It'll start to say that you're a really great meditator, that you're a wonderful human being. And then whenever you get into confrontations or you're working with other people that you disagree with, instead, your mind might say something like, "Oh, you're better than this person. You meditate. They're not as good as you. I bet they don't meditate." Now, of course, that can feel really good. It'll actually make you feel like you're becoming something through meditation, and that you've elevated your status, something that you can be proud of. But just bear in mind that that's your mind simply changing tactics. It's still dragging you into a conversation. Only now the conversation sounds like it might be better, because you're a super person, not just a regular person who doesn't meditate. It's called a self-righteous mind. But it is a real problem for people that meditate, because ultimately they didn't change their mind. The mind just changed tactics. So just watch for that. If you feel like you start to criticize other people for not being as good as you are because you meditate, and go back to just watching the mind instead of interacting with it. It may still say those things, but now they don't mean anything, and they have no hold over you. Here's another little thing to note. So if your life is fairly okay, you have a job, might not be the best in the world, but you have a little bit of money, maybe not enough to buy a Ferrari, but you do okay. You have some good friends and some not so good friends, but overall, they're pretty decent people to hang out with. If your lifestyle is like that, then the journey of meditation can be quite slow, with a lot of plateaus, and it's difficult to have some breakthroughs sometimes. Whereas some people with truly horrific life circumstances can have spontaneous awakenings, where their mind literally can't handle the situation that they're in. After all, your ego wants to be in charge, and if your life situation is so bad that you're in a very dark place, then your ego can't handle that. And so very often it doesn't know what to do, and it will just shut down, giving the person a very real spiritual awakening. People with terminal illnesses, people on death row, people with extreme hardships. If you're told that you only have 6 months left to live, then your mind has a really hard time with that. It wants to live forever. But very often news like that will just shut down the mind. You don't have to plan for the future anymore. Any problems like that seem trivial by comparison. And learning from the past isn't going to solve your impending fate. It's a shame that for a lot of people, they have to be on their deathbed for them to experience a completely peaceful mind. If you look into the eyes of someone who's dying, that's truly accepted what's about to happen to them, you'll see that their eyes are full of unconditional love. There's no struggle anymore, no drama. It doesn't matter how much money they have, whether their house is about to go into foreclosure. They become very childlike, and when they look at you, it's like they see you for the first time, just the same way that a child explores the world for the first time, just full of curiosity and love. I really enjoyed it when my boys reached about 2 years old and they were able to move around the world and just look at things and touch things and reach out and grab stuff. Even the mailbox was fascinating to them. They'd play for hours just moving that little flag up and down and then opening and closing the door. It was mesmerizing to them. When you're an adult, you don't even see the mailbox anymore. Your eyes gaze upon it, and your mind says, "Oh, that's a mailbox, non-life-threatening," and just moves on. It doesn't look at the details. It doesn't take the time to look at all of the colors and the scratches, how the light shines off it, how it reflects all of the colors in the environment around it. It's like your eyes have stopped seeing. But through meditation, you will start to see the world again. You'll start to become more present, and you'll see the true splendor of the world. You'll spend a lot less time digging up thoughts from your past, and a lot less time solving problems in the future that may or may not happen. Sure, you can use your mind to plan things for the future, but I'm talking about that idle daydreaming where you just have a huge laundry list of what if this, what if that. Those sort of thoughts should hopefully die down and eventually go away completely. That's when you have full control of your mind and are able to use it like a tool, just like the hammer from the toolbox. And then when you've finished using it, put it back in the toolbox and go back to being present. So enjoy the journey and keep meditating. And I'll finish with a hermit quote. If you only have $100 in your pocket, change is inevitable. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep coming back to read my blog or watch my other YouTube videos.